Welcome to the People's Economy Podcast, the only podcast where we keep it all the way real. Our mission is to empower you with some knowledge, some information on your journey of self improvement, financial improvement, spiritual improvement. We just want you to better yourself. So, as we see, there's a lot of things going on in the economy right now, and we have the election coming up. The stock market's been real volatile this week. See some big drops. A lot of the biggest names like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, they all announced their earnings this week, and they actually all did really good numbers, but most of those stocks are down. Still because they gave basically they didn't really give guidance to the future numbers. They don't know what the future holds. And as you gentlemen can see, and ladies out there, the market's been real volatile, and it's been real hard on our small businesses. We see a lot of small businesses closing. What do you gentlemen think about what's going on out there on what they call so-called Main Street? And what do you think they can do to maybe change things around for themselves?
Mm. I think, well, first of all, it's definitely rough for the small business. They've had a hard time because also they didn't get that first round of stimulus or money. They didn't really get that from most small businesses. So I think first of all they have to cut. Yeah, I think you definitely have to come up with a plan. But it's hard to even come up with a plan because it seems like the rules are ever changing because we never been in this situation. It's hard to have when you're a business, you try to back your moves off like things that happened in the past, but you can't really do that this time because this has never been seen. So you got to be more fluid with this. But I think you should prepare for maybe having extended time off or having time, maybe build that into sort of your budget and try to I guess the best way you keep up with the times and also create a good network for yourself. I think having a network of other people who are small businesses, I think you need to have that more front and center because if you don't have a whole platform of even if it's a platform of small businesses, I think you guys can survive because there'll always be capital around, and there'll always be an exchange of ideas going on. So I think that's at least a basic way to stay afloat if I'm a small business. What do you think, Dutch?
What we need to do is like think of it as a whole, how we think of our country as a whole. I think small businesses, like we weren't backing them 100%, and that's why a lot of small businesses had closed down permanently because they didn't have the help that I think like they needed to survive in this type of business environment.
I mean,
So
I
what you
agree.
think?
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
as a small business, like you said, people don't support small businesses, but in reality, it's really hard. Like if you're a small hardware store, like how you going to compete with Home Depot's prices? I can't see like most people are automatically going to go to the cheaper. Even now, you have Amazon. Like it's hard for these small businesses. They get things. They don't buy as much as Home Depot, so they're paying a bigger cost on each product they buy, so their markup is less. In an environment like that, it's kind of like how do you compete with these big corporations? But I think like Big said, maybe you have to have more of a local online presence now. Maybe do more things in the community. Maybe do some fundraisers. Be creative and get your company, make your company separate from all the other small businesses out there. Maybe stand out in a different way in the community, like Biggs was saying, the network locally. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. You definitely. I think that's probably the best. The best part of this is that you can be creative. You can try to find different ways to do whether it's fundraising. You could take fundraisers to a different level now. Maybe you could do that more. You could have more specific fundraisers and have actual people of the community really coming out to support and really connecting with them. I think grassroots is more probably the way that you have to be now because you're right. You can't compete with a Amazon or just a big chain store. You can't. It's hard to really compete with that. So the only way to compete is to have your group of people who support you, have your base, your network of people who are going to support you, and be creative with them. Really have, but
But
you gotta really build that relationship now.
but
Can't be just business.
honestly, you guys, did you think that there was going to be such a percentage of permanent small business, permanent closure since it's such a short period of time? Like, say, since the summer, how big of a percentage it has dropped since the summer, the small businesses?
I mean, it's been very significant.
It's very staggering.
Yeah, but did we know? Did we expect it? Yeah, of course. I mean, once you figured out how extended it was going to be, maybe not the first month, but once you start seeing the numbers and seeing how extended and how restricted businesses have to operate now, yeah, small business is going to be the first ones to fall because they have the least capital. They don't have the same capital. They can't stay around like another company. A lot of businesses you run in,
Yeah,
that's almost check to check. You know what I'm saying? A business is almost check to check compared to a corporation where they have a whole pool of money that they could survive for a year shut down, or they could go from, all right, we have a whole warehouse to now we just online and we got a whole online marketing campaign. We could make this warehouse. We could turn our store into the warehouse now. A smaller business can't do that. For one, they don't have the capital. They don't have the inventory, and they can't scale up in such a short
well,
manner as a big place can. So that's a problem.
one of the biggest hit industries would be like the restaurant industry. I know from somebody firsthand experience, they had to get out the chef industry.
Mm,
He was doing good and a good job, and not no more. He had to go into something totally different now.
mm.
So this is you know s- some industries are less hit than others, so you have to be on your toes when you're in the market right now for what job to choose. What's your next move? I would say,
Now you're definitely right.
you
You're
know,
definitely right about that. You gotta be able to pivot, like you said. You have one job, and now maybe that industry. I think we've had enough time. I think we had enough time now to look at industries and look at the priority list that
yeah,
industries are. Like here, this is what's going to be around and open
right.
all the time. This is what's going to be affected first. This is what's going to close now. That's how I look at that whole essential business at the time. That you need to take that into account now. All right, this
Like
is what they left
six
open.
months ago, the good businesses that you wanted to have something involved in is not so good right now.
Like what? What's an example? What do you mean?
Like if I want to go into business for myself in a food truck right now, wouldn't be the
Mm.
time for that. But
Okay.
like 6 months ago,
I
in
think
in
I
the
think
past,
food
I
truck.
would have had a different
I don't
opinion.
know. I think a food truck might be a good business because it's kind of separate. You're socially distant.
Well, yeah, now that people are getting used to being socially distanced, maybe in certain areas you might get away with it.
No,
But
a truck's better.
I think people still want to get out. They're just looking for things that are like maybe just the family can do or something outdoors. You set up a truck like in a park. You're socially distanced.
Yeah,
People are looking for new things like that.
That could be that could You're 100% right. That could be like your new. You know how they have like restaurant row, where it's like restaurant and a bunch of like not. You could have now, and it might be tough in now in the time we're going into in winter, but let's say in the fall or in the spring and summertime, you could have a big open space where you have a lot of different food trucks, spread apart, and like that could be almost a restaurant. That could be like where people go to hang out and eat, but you're still outside, so it's less restriction. You could be distant away from people if you have enough space. So I think a food truck is actually probably more of a way to go if you got the money to start. If you got the money to start, or just come up with the money, and you don't have the same overhead because you drive away your building. Your building drives home with you. You know what I'm saying? So you can go anywhere, and you could move to where you need to be. So if there's restrictions here, for instance, they shut down parts of Brooklyn, parts of Queens. So if I have a store in that neighborhood, my store is just in that neighborhood shut down. But if I have a food truck, and let's say I was in that neighborhood, and then they just closed down a neighborhood, I could just go next door to where there ain't no restrictions, and I could just be out. So I think a food truck that's very smart right now.
And then they said the least impact is like lawyers, accountants, auto mechanics, and landscapers, because
all that makes sense.
those are essential in a way.
Well,
all those are essential.
Not only are they essential, that they're all those industries are industries where business went up during the shutdown. The auto people bought cars, people fixed their house up. What was the other ones you said?
Lawyer, accountant.
People still could do business with lawyers. People opening LLCs now, so you're calling up lawyers. So those businesses, this is once again when I said the essential businesses, you got to take a look at what is around and sort of go around that, and that's how you figure out your business plan.
And one thing that I know for certain went down is nightlife, but that's a given.
That's tough. I guess depending what state, right? Depending what state, because some states you can go out to a bar or a club right now, but I'm sure they still hurting from being shut down all that time. They missed a good amount of time too. So yeah, that might be a trickier one. That will open up again though, I think, but it's hard to tell when at this point.
And with everything that's going on, the retail market is like I would say upside down right now.
This is it's definitely different. It's definitely different. I think it just moved. What do you think?
Who's gonna survive? Who's gonna survive to stay open the longest? I guess.
Well, if you are a business, right? If you're a business right now, I guess this is for both of you. If you're a business right now, and you have November is when Black Friday happens. But Black Friday can't really happen now. Black Friday can't happen in the same way. You can't have all those people in there. What do you think is a good way, creative way, to sort of maximize off this window that you have of people going more inside and staying home more, but knowing that you can't have the same volume of people inside your store?
I guess it would be like a Cyber Monday or like a Amazon Prime Day, something e-commerce, especially with those big corporations. They're pretty much equipped to do the e-commerce sales.
Right. And maybe you do it longer. Maybe like instead of just having a Cyber Monday or you might have to do a 3-day sale online, or maybe even a 5-7 day, 15% off, whatever it is, some sort of discount sale. I think that's how you get creative with it, and maybe bundle with other companies. Try to have, you know what I'm saying? Try to see if you could combine with other smaller companies to bundle services or products together, so you both get revenue at least out of it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe you'll have more like different promotions if you buy online these 3 days. Extra coupons, extra savings. Maybe like a couple of hot products at super discount, like Black Friday prices.
Right. So maybe with that going on, they might get new customers that are willing to make purchases that they weren't going to before, prior to them getting with the new technologies.
Yeah, because online you can go far, you can scale more miles away. Like you can send out maybe half an hour up from your store. You can mail it out, so you could get new demographics, customers from farther away. Maybe buy and purchase online. They normally wouldn't come to the store because it's too far away, but they might buy it online if you're going to ship it out to them.
That's true. And now, as you're if you're doing cyber stuff as you're like browsing, you might come across a company that's located in California. And before you, now while you can't go to that store, you could get it shipped now. So you're more inclined to get stuff shipped from all over too now. So a bunch of different companies could get involved and try to get, just to get a stream. It's all about staying on the streams of income. That's where big corporations stay. They just follow the money. They're just going to follow where the money is at. So small business has to get some of that stream of money, and smaller businesses have the capability of probably being more creative because they have a different relationship with the customer. It is more intimate with a small business. If you see John that comes in the store every day, you're going to have a different relationship than the customer 157 at Target. You don't really know that person. You know what I'm saying? So how you treat customers and all that matters at this point. Everything matters.
Everything matters. Yeah. How is it like possible for the small businesses to how to put themselves on messaging apps and social media and new outlets of trying to get different purchases done online? Like how essential is it for small businesses to make that essential part of their way of business?
Well, they probably should have had that before. You know what I'm saying? They should just be expanding it now. I mean, you can go to Facebook, start a business page. You can run social media ads like on Facebook and Instagram. You can put stuff in Facebook. They have actually like a Facebook marketplace. You can sell goods. So yeah, the online presence is very important right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think you should have had it already, and that by now you should be trying to work it in a different way. You should be like on a whole nother system within the social media market, whatever it is. You should probably be using all of them: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. All of those should be part of your business, and you should be maybe have a team or just learn how to use it. Because you can have a team on that. That's also a business too. But you could also just learn how to work algorithms and figure out how to do it on your own. That's part of it. But I think online presence is you have to now. Like there's no I don't think there is an option to not have that if you're a business, small or big. You have to be online. There has to be a access online. There's no other way you're going to survive now.
Well, the key for a small business to really thrive online is going to be shares. So maybe you want like people sharing your stuff on social media. So maybe you do something where you include like the customers so that they're sharing it on their page and then their friends are sharing it. That's how you really create an algorithm on Facebook. Is customers sharing
Right.
maybe your sales, even pictures with you, content, whatever. That's the key.
No, you're right. You're right, and I think that's something that's going to have to be increased and advanced as well. But you definitely got to get that online presence has to 100% be there, and it has to be working for you. And like I said, the customer service, you have to have a good relationship with the customer at this point. They have to really, really want to spend their money with you if you're a small business. Like really, 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 you have to provide them with the right service consistently, and they got to be able to feel like they could reach out to you. And
yeah, you got to make yourself accessible. I agree with you. Like you really got to be like real customer service friendly right now.
Right. That's the only way. If you also haven't worked on that too, like your customer service can't be the old school where you could just say whatever. I think you really have to make sure that's on par with the rest of the business as well. It has to be.
Yeah, I mean, communication and customer relationship should be something that any business owner should be working on all the
Right.
time, doing any type of climbing outside.
Right.
I mean, that's what it's all about to me.
Because you don't know where this pandemic is gonna land us in the next decade, right? This is gonna shape our way of the business for a long time, right? Safe to say.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It'll definitely shape it. There's no way to say it won't. I mean, it's definitely going to shape it. Do we know what the shape is going to be? That's what we don't know. That's what's uncertain. I think you got to get away from the situation sometimes to know. So I think that question ask at next year this time. What it did, how stuff bounce back. Are we back to this? Are people doing this job? Are they doing that job? Do restaurants go back? Ask me. You got to at least, to me, you need at least 6 months to a year to see what the real full effects of it. Although it's only almost been 6 months, probably, when this whole thing began.
Yeah, but still, entertainment like travel and vacation, they still haven't came back. So another
Right,
6 months, see if that comes back, like you said.
right, right. Travels pretty down. Hotels are not really, no one's really booking hotels. Um, New York City in itself, there's no shows, there's no Broadway, there's no movie theaters, there's no nothing. So a lot of revenue is going other places right now, that are just different. So people are spending their money a little bit differently now, or maybe they're spending more money on non-essentials too. That could be it. Since they are home, you might be spending more money.
Yeah, I think all that extra money they have from like throwing parties. I think they're throwing parties, traveling, throwing big like banquet events. I think they're spending on, like you said, the essential stuff like home renovation, maybe new upgrading their actual house, the furniture, maybe their workout equipment, their electronics. I think the money is definitely being spent elsewhere.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree because people still there's still income being made even though it's down now and the markets are down and the economy's kind of down from what it was. You got to find a way to tap into that. What's your market? You got to tap into what's your market and stick with that market and make sure other people know about you. Share, and if you're a small business, make sure people are sharing your business and supporting. Most of all, you got to support those businesses. That's very important. You see, you see how big companies have gone down. Even it's not just the small business; it's big companies that have gone down just over the last couple of months. So or if their model was relied heavily so much on one thing, they didn't make it. So they wasn't able to shift over. But you can. There's still time to do business. I like the food truck idea though.
Maybe the food truck with like a little bit of like application involved would we be involved will make a difference too in the way that your business could be a hit or not, hit or miss, you know?
What do you mean?
Well,
What do you mean?
everybody's on,
Having
like the gig economy, like Uber and stuff like that, or I don't know. There's a lot of different, people ways of people making passive incomes that that we don't usually don't use a lot.
I mean, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. You gotta get creative now.
Yeah, you gotta get creative with the business and see which one coincides with which one that you could, use to your benefits.
If you mean like the food truck application, you mean like the food truck making
Yeah,
its
or
own
you could
app?
even go into that, make your own application as far as whatever you wanted to do with the food truck. You would have to come up with ways, I would think, to put that in with your companies.
Yeah,
But an
like
app for a food truck would be
Have that
great.
aspect. Have that aspect.
or at least have your food truck on like Uber Eats and DoorDash,
Right.
saying right.
Right. Seamless. Have your truck on
Something.
all of those. Right. And you deliver because you could deliver from the truck too.
Mhm.
You could do
Yeah,
delivery from the truck. You could have a delivery person even from the truck. They just on a car. They got a car and you could deliver. That's another thing you got to add to your service too. If you're a restaurant business, delivery. I think every business has to have delivery at this point. You have
yeah.
to. I've seen restaurants that never would deliver that deliver now. So just because they had to change with the times. So you can add that on. I mean, a food truck is it's a really good idea. It's a really good idea. It doesn't require as much overhead as a restaurant, an actual location, and you could get in and out of it a little quicker. It's more liquid. It's more liquid probably too than a regular restaurant.
So
Plus,
with
I think
the retail. Oh, go ahead, Jerry. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I think food trucks are trending now too. I think it's something popular. I think it's a good time you come up with like maybe a new type of like cuisine, something that stands out. I
Mm,
think a food truck could be a flourishing business.
right. I agree. I agree with that. Food truck's great. Might be light bulb moment right there. Just food truck. Oh, okay. Maybe that goes back to what you're saying. It maybe if you love something, right? Because if you know somebody who is a chef and love to do that, maybe they have to. If they still want to be a chef, you got to do it different now. You got to do a different creative way. So now you got to have your own truck and do things different now. That's what it is. So if your industry has been hit and has been forced to change, and you still want to stay within that industry, you're gonna have to be one of the top creative people in your industry now, just to make sure you keep going. And that's one way. So I was a chef in a restaurant, but now I got to open a truck and serve my own cuisine and have my own thing. I'll have my own following. It's a different kind of grind, but I think if you really love it, you'll do it.